the biggest iPhone upgrade in years is just around the corner and you already know exactly when it's coming. According to insider Mark Gurman from Bloomberg, Apple is planning to unveil the iPhone 17 series during the week of September 8th, 2025. While the company hasn't made an official announcement yet, Gurman's weekly Power On newsletter says Apple usually sticks with Tuesdays for iPhone events and avoids announcing new products on September 11th. That makes Tuesday the 9th or Wednesday the 10th the most likely dates for Apple's next big reveal. So whether you're still rocking an iPhone 6 South Plus or holding onto a newer iPhone 16 Pro Max, this year's upgrade could be the one that gets your attention. The iPhone 17 lineup is expected to include for models the base iPhone 17, the ultra-thin iPhone 17 Air, the iPhone 17 Pro, and the top-of-the-line iPhone 17 Pro Max. All four phones are getting meaningful changes. The regular iPhone 17 will jump to a 6.3-inch display, slightly larger than the 6.1-inch screen on the iPhone 16. It's also expected to include a 48-megapixel wide rear camera, a 12-megapixel ultra-wide camera, and a 24-megapixel front-facing camera. That's a solid setup for users who love taking photos but don't need pro-level hardware. If you want a thinner design, the iPhone 17 Air might be for you. It will feature a 6.7-inch display and a single 48-megapixel rear camera, borrowed from the iPhone 16, plus the same 24-megapixel selfie camera. Because of its slim build, there's only space for one rear lens, and the battery is expected to be just 2,800 mAh, so you'll be treating battery life for sleekness. The iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max models are where things really get exciting. Both phones are rumored to include 48-megapixel sensors across all three rear cameras: wide, ultra-wide, and telephoto. They're also getting 24-megapixel front-facing cameras. That kind of setup would be a first for Apple and a huge step forward in mobile photography. These Pro models will run on the new A19 Pro chip, manufactured by TSMC using its 3nm process. The iPhone 17 and 17 Air will feature the standard A19 chip, but the Pro models will take things to the next level with enhanced performance and more power for advanced features, including Apple Intelligence. RAM is also getting a boost. The iPhone 17 will come with 8 GB of RAM, while the Air, Pro, and Pro Max are all expected to have 12 GB. This means better multitasking, faster app switching, and improved background performance. Samsung might finally be gearing up for a camera upgrade that actually surprises fans, and this time it could be a big one. A newly coming from Fixed Focus Digital on Weibo claims that the upcoming Galaxy S26 Ultra might ditch Samsung's in-house 200-megapixel sensor in favor of a brand new Sony-made 200-megapixel sensor, and not just any sensor, but one that measures 1.1 inches. That would be a noticeable jump from the 1.3-inch sensor used in the current Galaxy S25 Ultra, which, despite its high resolution, didn't really wow anyone in terms of image quality this year. This new sensor could push the S26 Ultra closer to phones with 1-inch sensors like the Oppo Find X8 Ultra or Xiaomi 13 Pro. That means more light, more depth, and possibly a major leap in low-light performance and detailed cropped zoom shots. If this plays out, Samsung might finally deliver full-resolution 200MP photos that don't feel like a gimmick. Of course, we have to take it all with some skepticism because Samsung has always relied on its own camera tech for the Ultra series. And Sony hasn't even released a 200MP sensor for smartphones yet, at least not publicly. But rumors have been floating since March that Sony is working on a sensor exactly like this, and it might be time for them to challenge Samsung's dominance in high-megapixel smartphone imaging. What makes this even more interesting is that Samsung has been playing it safe lately. The S25 Ultra launch earlier this year left many fans underwhelmed, with barely any meaningful hardware changes and a lot of copy-paste from previous models. That's why a big shift like this, not just more megapixels, but a larger sensor from Sony, could be a sign that Samsung is ready to shake things up again. It also raises the stakes for early 2026, when the S26 Ultra is expected to be announced. If true, this could put the S26 Ultra in a stronger position against rivals who have been pushing the camera envelope while Samsung focused more on AI and incremental changes. Interestingly, Samsung's own camera strategy has been very controlled, and switching to Sony, even for just one component, would signal a change in mindset. The company seems to be listening, or at least recognizing that it can't keep releasing Ultra phones without Ultra improvements. With the Z Fold 7 and Z Flip 7 showing real upgrades this year, perhaps Samsung is taking the feedback seriously and lining up a real treat for S-series fans. Still, we haven't heard anything about changes to the other cameras on the S26 Ultra, so that's something to watch out for. Will we see better zoom, a new ultra-wide lens, or maybe improved video stabilization? Have you ever wondered why Samsung gave the Galaxy Z Flip 7 a bigger battery but left the Galaxy Z Fold 7 almost unchanged? It's something a lot of people are asking after the recent launch. On paper, it feels strange the Galaxy Z Flip 7, which is a smaller clamshell phone, now has a 4,300 mAh battery. That's just a tiny bit smaller than the Z Fold 7's 4,400 mAh battery, which is surprising considering how much bigger and more expensive the Fold 7 is. So what's the story behind this? Well, Samsung did respond to this question and gave a pretty straightforward answer. According to them, users of the Flip series really wanted a bigger battery. It was a common request and Samsung listened. That's why the Flip 7 got the upgrade. On the other hand, the Fold 7 users had different priorities. They weren't as focused on battery size and cared more about having better cameras, a thinner and lighter body, and a wider cover screen. And when you look at the actual changes made to the Fold 7, it makes sense. The Fold 7 is now thinner than ever, lighter than any book-style foldable on the market, and it comes with solid camera upgrades, so Samsung clearly focused on other things rather than battery size, but still, it doesn't fully explain why the Fold's battery couldn't also be improved. And that's where the bigger picture comes in. Unlike flip phones, the race in the book-style foldable category is intense. Brands like Honor, Oppo, and Huawei are all trying to release the thinnest and lightest foldables, so Samsung can't afford to fall behind. That's likely why they focused so much on making the Fold 7 thinner and more comfortable to hold, increasing. The battery would have meant adding bulk and weight, which goes against the trend. Meanwhile, the flip phone market isn't in the same race. No one is fighting to make the slimmest clamshell, so Samsung had more freedom to boost the battery in the Flip 7. Also, until Samsung adopts new battery tech like silicon carbon anode batteries, we're not likely to see huge improvements in battery life without making the phone thicker. And we all know Samsung has been very cautious about battery safety ever since the Galaxy Note 7 incident years ago. They're not going to take risks with newer battery materials until they're absolutely confident they're safe and durable. So for now, trade-offs have to be made. You can either get a thinner and lighter phone or one with a bigger battery, but rarely both. With the Fold 7, Samsung clearly chose to focus on design, usability, and premium feel. That's probably a smart move considering who the Fold is made for: users who want a big screen,